Hello students, welcome to today's lectures on AGM 311, Introduction to Farm Mechanization, Study Section 2. The title of today's topic is Workshop Tools. Introduction. Agricultural engineering workshop embraces wood workshop and metal workshop. Tools that are commonly used in these workshops for various farm machines include hand tools, saw, planes, grinding and sharpening angles. The tools are used for specific purposes. The various types of workshop tools used in the agricultural workshop are discussed in this study section. Learning outcome for study section 2. On completion of this study section, you should be able to 1. State different types of hand tools and their uses. 2. Describe various workshop and building materials used on the farm. Workshop hand tools. Among the workshop hand tools are chisel, files, scribers, old leg calipers, dividers, punches, screwdrivers, allen keys, hacksaw, T-squares, steel rules, protractor, inside and outside calipers, vernier calipers, and micrometer screw gauge, among others. A sketch drawing of each of these hand tools is given alongside their uses are discussed over the next few slides. On the slide we have chisel. Chisels are used to cut cold metals for smoothing and chiseling that include cutting grooves, for making keyways, making slots in a shaft, and so on. Examples of chisels are flat chisels, round nose chisel, cross-cut chisel, and diamond nose chisel. We should also note that chisels are made of high carbon steel. Also we have file. Files are used to sharpening edges of metals. They are also useful for removing small amounts of metals by rubbing with the teeth of the file. Examples of files are flat file, round file, square file, triangular file, and half round file. Next we have scriber and divider. A scriber is used in making a straight line on metals. It is used in conjunction with the steel rule and tri-square. Dividers are used for making circles or curves. It is useful in transferring measurement. It can also be used for stepping off equal divisions along a line. Next we have screwdriver and allen key. Screwdrivers are used for driving screws into or out of structures member. They are in two main groups. We have the general purpose screwdriver and the electrician screwdriver. The general purpose screwdriver are of three types. We have the flat screwdriver, we have the star screwdriver, and we have the allen key. Allen key are used to tightening or slackening screws that have a hexagonal hole in their heads. Next we have steel rule. Steel rules is useful for ruling straight line, testing straight edges, testing flat surfaces. We also have hacksaw. Hacksaw for farm work is used for cutting metals with a minimum waste to ensure that the edges does not bend or distort. Now we have inside and outside caliper. The inside caliper is used to measure the inside dimensions of objects. For example, the inside diameter of a hole. The dimension should be within the capacity of the caliper. Also, we have the outside caliper. The outside caliper is used to measure the outside dimensions of objects within its capacity. For example, the outside diameter of a round bar. Workshop and building materials used on farm. The equipment available in the farm for various works will determine the workshop on the repair and maintenance of farm equipment and for their storage. Thus, an ideal farm workshop has various sections such as service area, which include a pit, welding units, electrical units, battery charging units, and store for keeping tools and spare parts. Building for farm workshop must have iron columns, walls, and roof. Buildings are needed on the farm for the following purpose: 1. For the farmers as his dwelling place. 2. For livestock, e.g. poultry house, house for pigs, goats, and cattle. 3. For crop production, e.g. screen house, greenhouse, and storage structures such as silo and warehouse. Farm workshop and building materials are classified as metals and non-metals. Talking about metallic building materials that are metallic are mainly categorized into two groups, namely ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Examples of ferrous metals are cast iron, malleable cast iron, wrought iron, and steel, including alloy steel. The properties of these materials are not considered here, but attention are given to their uses. Examples of non-ferrous metals are copper, brass, bronze, aluminium, zinc, and so on. Copper is useful in electrical installation in workshop and farm buildings. Brass is used for making pipes, instrument parts, and fittings, where bronze is an alloy of copper and tin, which is useful in bearing springs and pipe fittings. We also have aluminium or white metals, which is useful for coating chemical tanks and for light casting. It is also found useful in high-speed bearing. And lastly, we have the zinc. Zinc is useful mostly in a coating of sheets, iron, and die casting as a protection against corrosion. Then we have non-metallic building materials. Examples of non-metals are wood, rubber, leather, vegetable fibers, and plastics. Wood is particularly useful in building constructions as frame for doors, windows, and roofing planks. Wood used for structural purpose is called lumber. Rubber is useful in belts such as wheel belts and insulation of wires. Wheel belts are useful in power transmission of electric motors mounted in workshop buildings for various purposes. Then we also have leather, which is largely a belting material. Then we have vegetable fibers, which are useful as upholstery and padding. Then lastly, we have plastics, which are used for seed hoppers, chemical tanks, and water storage tanks in the farm. Other materials are concrete, reinforced concrete, mortar, and paints. Thank you for listening. We've come to the end of today's class. Hope to see you in the next class. Have a good day.